Well, Cotton Mather is often mentioned with the Salem Witch Trials, which occurred in 1692. See, Cotton Mather had written many books. In fact, he wrote over 450 different titles. Well, one of those books happened to be about witchcraft. If you look at the accounts that the Puritans give during the 17th century or the 1600s, you'll find that the Puritans often mention that they had these strange, apparently supernatural occurrences where strange things were seen in the sky, or strange things were thrown across the house when nobody was around, or when nobody was in that room where it was thrown. And of course, we can take a look at this and say, well, maybe there's some rational explanation for it, but the Puritans give so many examples for this, and the Puritans were rational people who studied the ancient arts of logic, for example, and were, in fact, advanced scientists. So it's not as if they were always superstitious. But a lot of these happenings that appear to be supernatural or appear to possibly be created by witches in the Puritan mind began to occur in Salem in the year 1692. And the Puritans in Salem and the judge there, Judge Hawthorne, began to round up witnesses and then round up suspects. Various people were eventually accused of practicing witchcraft. In fact, 22 people would be accused of witchcraft that would either be executed or would die while they were awaiting trial in prison. Now, the problem with this is that these people began to contact, not the people who were executed, but the people who were overseeing these trials, contacted Cotton Mather and they asked for his advice. And Cotton Mather said, "You'd better have solid evidence. You had better argue it to me as if I was someone who did not believe in the authority of the Scripture, who did not believe that Christ actually exists. You better have a really solid argument," was Cotton Mather's point, "if you're going to accuse these people of doing something that is so wrong." One of the things that was realized, though, is that a lot of the evidence was evidence what they call spectral evidence. In other words, somebody who was seen as a witness would have a dream where they saw so-and-so doing something, and they assumed that that was happening in real life, and people were put to death upon people's dreams. Cotton Mather, when he found out about this, said, "You've got to stop these trials." And so as a result, the Salem Witch Trials were eventually stopped, but the bottom line is this: 22 people had died, and many of them quite possibly were actually innocent. And because Cotton Mather was appealed to for advice, and because he had written a book on witchcraft, his name would always be associated with this, even down to the present day. But the record really shows that Cotton Mather, if anything, tried to make sure that these trials were just, and then when he found out what they weren't, tried to actually encourage them to stop.